And we are live. Wow, I positioned the camera really far away from me. Jeez, okay. Oh man, happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy July. It is officially July. It is wild. And welcome to the last stream in sort of our build series that's been going on for 2.5 months on the ProForge 300. I don't have plans. I don't have a whole lot of plans today. The one thing I would like to do is I bought a bunch of these DSI cables, or cables that are going to work with DSI. So I'd like to quickly swap out the cable and see if the screen works. I have a feeling that there's actually an issue with the screen itself and that needs to be replaced, but I have the cables, so we'll try that. And then we're pretty much just going to print something and kind of chill. I think it'll be a little bit shorter of a stream. There's kind of a lot of stuff going on this week. And then next week we will hopefully be starting the FISEC monster build. I am working on getting the garage set up. It's going to be a really makeshift stream, but I have an older Mac Mini that's been sitting for a while since it got replaced. So I printed out a part for this, and I'm hoping I can mount it to one of my carts in the garage and get us streaming out there for next week. So we'll see how that goes. If we don't end up doing the FISEC stream starting next week, then I'll still probably do a garage stream to kind of test out the stream setup before we start building that monster printer. But yeah, who's all here today? Let's see. Happy Freedom Day for the folks. Yeah, that's right. Is it today or yesterday that was Canada Day? I know that a lot of my coworkers are Canadian, and I thought today was a holiday in Canada, and I think it might be Canada Day. Hey Moji. Hey William. Man, I feel weird having to crouch down to be on camera. Also, apologies in advance. My allergies are back and attacking me. Hey RH. Hey Glock. Hey Troy. Hey Will, from warm Bulgaria. Nice, a week of work down here and then home to Denmark for a well-deserved summer vacation. That sounds lovely. Hey, Nuno's in the house. Jose's here. Man of the Croc, Beads, Jeff, Hobo. I hope everyone's doing awesome. Hasio, I see you. 8 months. Thank you so much for your support. So the only things really left to do on this build would be obviously get the screen working and then put the top hat on here. I'm gonna wait on the top hat because I want to play around with this a bit before I enclose it. It also doesn't have any sort of handles, and so moving this has become really awkward. And I think it's gonna end up living right here. So what I'm likely gonna do is keep it like this for right now, do quite a bit of just printing and testing of different things. And then when I'm recording footage for the actual YouTube video I'll make on this, then I'll put the top hat on. But I was looking at the instructions for it, and it's not very complicated. It's basically, you guys can see this, just some extrusions that we're gonna create a sort of box out of, and then just corner brackets that gets bolted to the top of it, then obviously panels, and adding on the filter fan. So I did end up sending an email to ProForge about a week or so ago that mentioned sort of the things I ran into with the wiring of electronics and how it just looked crazy. And what I ended up doing, I also made the recommendation about having the builders flash all the boards and stuff before it's all mounted, because for anyone that was here during our firmware flashing stream, it was kind of tricky pressing the buttons on the tool heads as well as accessing the bottom of the printer. And then I think I had one other question for them. I think I mentioned about cooling perhaps. But I haven't heard back yet, so I'm waiting to hear back from them regarding those things, and I will definitely update you guys, even if it's not, in today's stream or a ProForge stream. I'll still just say when I do hear back from them. So yesterday was Canada Day. Okay, so I'm a day late. Well, happy belated Canada Day to everybody here from up north. Hey, Lord Git. If I didn't already say that. RS is in the house. Troy, hello. So yeah, let's start by just leaning this thing over and doing a quick swap of... Yeah, I have the camera set correctly. Doing a quick swap of that cable, and we will see if that fixes anything. I'm gonna lean it this way because I've got the spools on that side, and I'm hoping I can do this. This is not ideal. Certainly not ideal. Let's see. Okay. Probably should have removed all the spools, but let's see if we can do this. Man of the Croc, this message is for for rent. Thank you so much for the 16 months, man. We'll do squirrel. I know who to do again. Okay, so like I mentioned, I bought a bunch of different cables on Amazon. They just came in kind of a variety pack, and these are pretty freaking long. And then these are pretty short. Do we have something? There's something in the middle. This is even longer, so let's not use that. This might be perfect. This might be perfect. Okay, so let's just try. I'm not gonna be able to really show you guys a close-up of this, but I am just going to disconnect this one. And so this was with the pins facing this direction, so we'll just go from this angle here. Okay, feels like it's seated. Cool. And then on this one, the blue is facing towards the outside, so I would love for this to be it. I have a feeling it's not the cable. I'm gonna just chuck this cable, so in case it is a bad cable, it doesn't get caught up in the mix. I think I have enough DSI cables to last the rest of my life at this point, so I'm not too worried about keeping that one. And then we will just go ahead and shove this cable through here, like this, and shove this into its slot. So what did I do? Nothing. It's really awkward, this one, like, sort of bracket on the Pi. RS, thank you. So this message isn't for rent. Approaching 3 freaking years. I'm gonna get you some sound effects in just a second here, buddy. Let me just see if I can slide this in. It doesn't really seem like it's working. I don't like these cables. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I'm not a fan. Okay, that felt like we went in kind of far there. Okay, let's see. Can we clamp it down? Okay. Okay, let's just power it on laying down and see what happens here. RS with the 34 months. Thank you so much, buddy. Let's do air horns. The air horns and cheers. Thank you for the 34 freaking months. It's crazy. Don't forget, I now know where I can print. What? What did that say? DSI cables, all ribbon cables. Yeah. Yeah, can't say I love ribbon cables. All right, let's see if there's any. I'm not seeing anything. I see the same power light that we've been seeing this whole time. I think this screen is bad, man. Yeah, it's the same. All right, well, I'm probably gonna I mean, we'll see if ProForge will send out a replacement. Like I said, I haven't heard. It's been about a week. I haven't heard back yet, so I'll see what they say, and if not, I'll just end up sourcing one locally here. I checked I have a few screens in the closet in my sort of storage of stuff, but unfortunately, this specific screen is not one that I have. They're all like HDMI screens, not DSI, and I'd like to stick with DSI at least for this. So I'm gonna get my plethora of cables, and I won't roll them all up right now. I won't have you guys watch me just roll all these, so I'll kind of move these off to the side for now and deal with this later. Well, if anybody, oh, there's more in here. If anybody needs a DSI cable, I know a guy. I'm a DSI dealer over here. $20 says the other cable wasn't seated. Try plugging it into a real Raspberry Pi rib screen. I think it's the screen, guys. I really think it's the screen that's faulty. I can probably find another printer that has a Raspberry Pi in it and slap the screen on it. Maybe the I'm not sure. I mean, I could check the 2.4 actually has a DSI screen as well on it, so I could just try plugging it in on there. What I'll probably do is I'll remove this screen from here and then just put it over by the 2.4, unplug the DSI screen from there and plug this in. and see if that works. Because I'm looking right now and I totally do have a DSi screen on the 2.4 from the LDO kit. So, not a big fan of screens. They always look like they are in the way. Of course, I have one printer and it sits next to my laptop. Yeah, I like it, depending on like the 2.4 that has, once the 2.4, we're going to be doing some stuff to it still. I'm going to be toolhead swapping it. It might end up being a stream. It'll definitely be a video, but it might be a stream. And I do like the idea of the screen with the box turtle, because having the specific macros for being able to unload and reload stuff. But yeah, if you have your laptop right next to it, but just the printers are scattered kind of throughout the premises, so it's a little bit more challenging. Hey Steve. Okay, so the thing I need right now from everybody is I need recommendations on what we should print for today's stream. It needs to be multicolor. I mean, we can paint something, so it doesn't have to, I guess, be multicolor by default. And I'd like for it to be bigger than, we did that little benchy and we saw that the cooling could have been better on this. There was some cooling issues. So I would like for it to be bigger than a benchy. I did print out, just for fun, this little guy, which, let's see. Printed out, oops. I did end up also getting the first layer figured out. I couldn't find, we were looking for a start macro and adjusting that. I didn't end up finding that, but I did end up figuring out where I could adjust it. So I did this little guy, which is just a dual color print in place model. This thing pivots left and right, which I think it probably is supposed to, but it did a relatively good job on it. At least like the color swaps were really consistent. But yeah, I'd like to print something a bit bigger. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. Otherwise we can just peruse printables. Another member of the SEAL Army. Yeah, let me pull up printables here. There's not a filter for MMU, is there? I've been looking because I'm testing out the Anycubic S1, and I've been spending so much time just searching for colored models. I know you can paint any of them now, but like specifically colored, if you search for AMS, a lot of times you'll find no AMS needed or MMU, no MMU needed. So Makerworld has way more choices. I guess that does make sense considering almost everybody has an AMS of sorts with a bamboo printer. We can do this. Okay. There's a bomb. I mean, I do like that. I'm a big Mario. Jackson's been really into Mario this past week. He's been waking up from his naps and going, Mario! So we've been watching, or Erin mostly, I think she's watched the Super Mario movie 4 times this past week. And I am printing out a Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man too, so there's a Spider-Man bust I'm printing out on the Anycubic in the garage right now, but it's a freaking 2-day print just for the bust, which is wild. The filament swapping on that printer seems to be working quite well, but it's really slow. It's just really, really slow. Okay, I guess I'll just start browsing until somebody either gives a recommendation or I just find something that looks good. I'm gonna put the bomb because I do, like I said, I'm a big Mario fan. But let's see what else we can find here. There's a Kirby. Ideally, like no more than 3 colors, since that's the maximum we can do on this printer. See, look at, like, no AMS required. There's a bunch like that. Okay, I do like that. This says no AMS required too. GTR Dad says yes. Print my Scream Ghost-faced ghost. I think Jack's here. I think Jack's awake. Jack? Oh my goodness. You gonna say hi? Oh, Daddy's streaming, Bubby. You wanna come say hi and you gotta go find Mommy. Come here. You can say hi to everybody. He did not sleep for long if he slept at all. Come here. Come here. Oh. Yee-hoo! Look it. Oh, stand up. Say hi. You gotta say hi. What's wrong with your foot? Can you say hi? Can you say hi? No? Can't say hi today? Mario. It is Mario. That's Mario, right? Yeah. Yeah? Look at Daddy made. A little trash truck. You like the Mario one? Yeah. What do you see? Mario? This? Yeah. This is... Let's see if Jack wants to chime in. Everyone says, hi, Jack. Print Mickey Mouse. I know, I definitely want to print a big Mickey for him, but I'm probably going to do it, like, not for a video showing off something. I'm doing a Spider-Man, but I'm like, I don't want Nintendo to cancel me. Or I guess that's Disney, but, you know, both of those things. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, you changed the camera, Bubby. Look it. Up there. No, the TV. Say hi. There we go. Okay, let's see. Want to see if there's a Mario? I know you love Mario, dude. Let's see. Is that Mario? Too many colors, big guy. Mario has too many colors, I know. Yeah. Mario has so many colors.
Yeah. Oh, that.
The star?
Yeah.
Is that the Mario star? Yeah.
Oh, that.
What about these turtles? These turtles are really cool. That's from Mario. Oh, the star?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are so cool. What about the bomb? You don't know do you know the bomb from Mario?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who's that?
Mario.
And who's that?
Uh,
Is that Peach?
yeah.
Princess Peach? Ooh, what about a Goomba? Daddy likes Goombas. Goombas? Okay, Daddy's gonna find something to print. You gotta go down to find Mommy though, okay? You can take the trash truck? Okay. You say bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye, everybody. All right, we'll find something cool to print, okay? Here, I'll walk you to the door, all right? You can go take the trash truck and show Mommy. We're gonna go swimming later today too, okay? Okay, I'll see you in a little bit, all right? Bye. Yeah, I don't think he napped at all. Sleep's been fun. We got him a big boy bed, and I thought that would convince him to stay in his bed. It's like a twin-size bed, which is way bigger than the crib bed he was in, but nope, not really working. Okay, I do like the stars. You said you have a Scream. Where, Moji, where is your Christmas Mr. Potato Head that looks like Steve Harvey? Where's your models, Moji? I'll take a look. We'll see if we can find one of yours. Maker World? Oh, okay. Is it just... I don't know. I haven't actually searched specific users on here. So is it just... If I do Moji... Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. One sec. Oh, here we go. Moji 3D. Users. It's gotta be you. Okay. Oh, okay. There's one. I don't know if Jack's gonna want that one. I feel like it might scare him. Mr. Potato Head's pretty rad. I like this. I like this Gary the Snail as well. I need a discount code. They don't do discount codes usually, Reverend. I don't have any. Hey, Ted. Wexter minis are nice and multi. That's true. Let's check Wexter as well, because I actually, that's one of the people that I have a license for, or like a, not a license, but a membership for. Where's users? There we go. Wexter. 3D models. Okay, let's see if we can find a 3-colored one. Harley Quinn. Oh, there's another Scream. I printed that one a long time ago. I like him. We got He-Man, a Spider-Man. Oh, yeah, it's for Jack. Ideally, I try, like, a lot of the things I'm printing, I try to print for Jack if they're little figures. Okay, this one might be the one. I mean, I'm printing him another Spider-Man, but this one, the only issue is I don't have the ability to do all those colors. I could do black instead of the blue. That's definitely a consideration. Aaron would like that one, the mask. Let's see, is there any 3-color? Deadpool. Deadpool's 3 colors. Oh man, these are cool. I really like these. Mini Scorpion. Is it Scorpion or Sub-Zero? It's Scorpion, right? It says, "Get over here." Why not paint it? No, we could totally paint it. Yep. We could totally paint one to be different colors, or just get a model and paint it. We absolutely can. That's a very good point. Does anybody else get like this when you're looking to print models? Like if you don't need something and you're just like, I want to print something. I always get sort of like, I don't know, like the only thing I can think of calling is like analysis paralysis, where I look at things and I'm like, there's so many, I don't know what to print. It happens to me almost every time. Like last night I needed to get a print started for a review printer that I'm working on, and I spent like 30 minutes. Oh dude, Mini Lebowski. Aaron would like that one a lot. All right, I need help. Somebody, Mini Chewy? Definitely not. Definitely, to the point I don't print anything. Yep. Is Mini Chewy? Where is this? Did I pass it? Where is Chewy? I like this one too. Fruit's really cool. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. It bums me out because like when I'm just like through normal life looking at social media and stuff, I'm like, oh, that's a really cool thing to print. But I never. Chewy's got to be around here somewhere. I see Star Wars stuff. Where is Chewy? I always see things. I'm like, that would be really cool to print. But then when it comes time to actually print it or print things, I can never remember what or where. Okay, what if how do you Chewy? I don't know how you spell Chewy. Chewy? Oh, Mini Chewy. Sick. Yeah, we can do a Mini Chewy. There's not a ton of color swapping, but I mean, it'll at least get us to where we want to be pretty quickly. I just look at all the TikToks my wife sends me if I need to find something to print. Yeah, I've printed some cool stuff lately. Like, I'll show you guys some of the stuff for the Anycubic printer I'm printing. So I printed out this stuff, like the chainmail. The only issue I ran into, which I don't know if it's an issue with the printer itself or just this model, but a lot of the rings have like flat spots where they touch the bed, and I'm not sure if it's part of the design, but I've had quite a few of them just sort of lock up on me, which is a little bit of a bummer. I have noticed with the Anycubic S1 that I'm getting a little bit of stringing, which doesn't help for tight tolerances. And it has been warm. It's in the garage. That's where I'm testing it. So I'm trying to give it a little bit of slack. But I don't know if, you know, with this one, it was specifically the model, but this was pretty cool to print out. And it did let me at least see that, hey, even though the bed doesn't seem like it's perfectly flat, but it does do a pretty good job of compensating for it. And then I did print out some of these little guys, which Jack loves. They're just little multicolor, oops, little 3-color dolphin guys. So printed out a few things on it recently. Just trying to test out. Just look at all the TikTok. Yeah, I read that. This might be a ridiculous question, but have you ever printed a Hello Kitty? I have not printed a Hello Kitty. This is not. I don't think that's a ridiculous question. Okay, let's see if we can do this now. So it should be here. Are we not on the right? Am I on the right thing? Yep, ProForge. Are we not on? What is going on here? Let me really quickly check to see if I see it on the network. Amplify. Yeah, it's on the network. Am I on the right network for this? I am on the right network for this. 192.168.105. Oh, it changed. That doesn't usually happen to me. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this. Okay. And then let's add Chewy. Okay, so we are going to be painting this. What colors do we need? It looks like it was black. So we've already got black and silver, which I think was 2 of the colors. So we just need, we can use silver for the little bullets, but we need brown. So let's see if I can find a brown. Sometimes when I restart the machine, this happens. It's weird. It doesn't usually, I mean, like, it's rare that that's happened to me. Do I have a brown? I gotta have a brown somewhere. What is this? I just hope it's not ABS. Ugh. Polyterra, cool. So I do have Polyterra brown, and then I have, this is another brown as well. I feel like the other brown might be a better Chewy brown. Let's help me decide which brown we want for Chewy. So this is the Polyterra, and then this is the voxel PLAs. Definitely a lighter brown versus a darker brown. Something else probably took IP from DHCP. I did just connect both of our garages to our network, so maybe that's what it was. Okay, voxel, the darker is the better one for it. Okay, cool, that's what we'll do. Yeah, I felt like that was probably the case. It's a nice brown, this Polyterra, but maybe not a Chewy brown. Okay, so let's put this back on the shelf. Brown doesn't get used too often, which is kind of a bummer. Okay, so we got silver, we got black, so this is the one we need to change. So let's do that. Let's get this loaded up really quickly here. Probably just gonna leave the camera like this. Maybe if I go, no, we'll just leave it like this far out. So let's start by homing the printer. And then let's heat up, what tool head is this? So this is tool head 0. Extruder 0, so we'll do 210 on that. Okay, it is heating. Let me go ahead and grab it. Select tool 0. One thing I would really like to do at some point here is throw a different, like, so my long-term plan for this printer is to pretty much always have one nozzle out of the 3 with a bigger nozzle. Minimum 0.6, potentially 0.8. Because this is a pretty big printer, like, the biggest use I'll probably have out of tool changing, like, yeah, multicolor prints are cool, but most of the time 2 is enough for a lot of, like, what I would actually need. Like, I mean, of course, printing out small things in multiple colors is a lot of fun, but, like, 2 is usually enough for what I would need. And the ability to combine materials in a single print is very cool, but I'd have to think of specific applications where, like, maybe a flexible and a rigid would go together. The big thing I can see myself using quite a bit is having the same filament probably loaded up and using a 0.8 nozzle for all the infill and then a 0.4 nozzle for the outside. That way I get really high strength on the inside and quicker print times, but not losing the detail on the outside. So that's long-term, that's very likely how I'm gonna have this set up, is 2.4s and then probably a 0.8 nozzle on here. Yes, it only fits 3 tool heads on this one. They have a 4 tool head version, and I guess they just announced that they're doing another Kickstarter with 5 tool heads. But yeah, for this one, it's 3. I don't think they could fit a 4th on here. It's wider than it is longer, or like the width is wide. Yeah, there's more width than depth, and the tool heads are mounted on the depth side. So also these tool heads are pretty wide. They're the Orbiter V3s with a tool head board, so they're pretty wide tool heads. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a good point too. John Under's right. For prints that require, that's a really good point. PTG and PLA combined for, like, PLA for PTG and PTG for PLA for supports is incredible, where you can have, I can't remember in my testing whether I did 0mm gap, but they don't want to stick to each other, and so removing supports is a breeze, which is really nice. So yeah, that's a good point. I completely forgot about that. So let's go ahead and unload filament. Unload filament for the currently selected tool head. don't think that fully unloaded it. Let's try that again. Yeah, let's try it again. Maybe it did unload it fully? Okay, it's showing blue, like there's not filament, so maybe I just need to loosen this. That is not coming out. Wow, that was... hoping I didn't break off the edge of it, because that was pretty tough. No, it looks like it got the ball and the goop. Okay, let's just... let's put this right here. And let's get brown. Cut this at an angle. You can push 0.8 out of a 0.4 nozzle if you print slow, done similar with infill versus outer walls. Interesting. 0.8 layer height with a 0.4 nozzle? I don't think I've ever done, I mean, granted I haven't tested it with something like a CHT, but with standard nozzles, I at least remember the old recommendation was not to go above like 75% of, okay, let's see if that, who's grabbing it? Filament loading. Okay, so it's heating up. It did set, I forgot, it has like the macro thing, so it is trying to grab it. Oh, line width, gotcha. Line width, that makes sense. I wonder if, cool, that did work. I wonder how it would work going with different layer heights though. If it would work, like how it would slice that, and if you could slice that. I haven't really played around with it much. I know that like Prusa Slicer added some stuff and Orca Slicer did as well. Cool, that worked out beautifully. Okay, so let's go ahead and cool down. Oh, it's already cooling it down. So we'll let it sit for a sec. All right, so let's go into here and go into prepare. And then we need to change this one. This is supposed to be brown now. It looks brownish. Maybe not. Is this brown? That looks like brown. Okay, so we are brown, our little figure. And then we are doing color painting, black. So we want, what do we want black? We want, I think, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the belt. So eyes, nose, nope. Nose. Okay. The eyes look like I did a pretty good job. The mouth looks pretty good to me. Oh wait a minute. No, mouth doesn't look good. Nope. I don't know how much I want to have. We'll just do like this whole inner cavity. Some models are definitely easier to paint than others, depending on how sharp each polygon is. It is pretty incredible though that we can even do this, man. Like, I remember before painting was an option, like you couldn't do this. Like, the models had to be specifically designed for multicolor. You couldn't just grab something and paint it. do like one more pass of this. Nope, that's too much. What if I go? Okay. I'm calling that good enough. And then the belt hopefully will be easier. I would think it will be. So I should be able to, yeah. Although that one will have to fix, which is fine. That one will have to fix too. Nope. Too aggressive. You can fit 12 on 350. 10 to 12 tool heads on a V2.4 will be game changing. That sounds, yeah, are you sure you can fit that many? That seems like a lot. Okay. I think that's everything in black, and now we need to go, I guess I have this as white, but it's silver. Okay. Is there anything I'm missing? This looks really good to me. We're definitely going to need some supports. I think that probably for the... I don't know how these shells are going to do. I'm hoping it's small enough that it'll work. We definitely need some support for his crotch. Hey, Mike! This looks pretty good to me. Let's do definitely, I do want skirts and supports, enable support. We'll do tree supports. On build plate only. Let's just see what it auto generates. It's probably going to be too much. Okay, so I agree with some of these. I agree with some of these. I don't know if we need all of these though. Let's see if we change the threshold angle to like 20 degrees and see what that does. Well, they got rid of at least the shell, a lot of the shells. We'll leave it like this, that's fine. If that's what it thinks it needs, then we'll roll with that. Okay, let me go ahead and pull the filament that was sitting here from earlier. Then I also remember that it wants us to dock the tool head before the start of a print. It'll pause to remind us to dock the tool head, but we'll go ahead and dock the tool head really quickly here. That's not the right camera, that's the right camera. So let's go ahead and dock T0. So my game plan right now, when it comes to index, is the massive printer that I'm building from Fisec. That to me would be the ultimate printer to have index on, because it's huge, right? Like 600 by 600 build area. And I would probably have multiple tool heads on that with like 0.8 nozzles or like a 1mm CHT, because a 0.4mm nozzle on that is gonna be ridiculous. Like I think they have an IDEX upgrade kit for it, and IDEX would certainly be cool, but I still think the idea of having multiple tool heads on that thing would be awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and print this, upload and print. Once it starts printing, I'll probably bring you guys closer in, but for now, let's just do it like this. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty chill stream today, so we can kind of talk about whatever. I'm currently working on editing the video for the IBIS Tetris, which is that AMS upgrade that gives you independent drying for each station. And I will say that I'm pretty dang impressed. There's a few, like, my complaints are pretty small with it. but from my testing, it does a really good job of even heating the entire cell or lane of filament. It actually has the closest, heat, like, so I use my little thermocouple thermometer thing up here, which has 4 probes, and I placed a probe in the front, center, back, or front, center, top, and then where the hot air comes out. And the entire time it was heating over an hour, the deviation from the highest temperature to the lowest temperature reading out of the 4 was under 2 Celsius, which is way closer than any dryer I've ever tested. And I think that part of that is because each cell is such a small cavity that somehow that's maybe helping. But I also felt that like having a smaller area to heat could lead to uneven heating, for the same reason that it could lead to even heating, if that makes sense. Can you show the item now? Yeah, I can show it. This is just, what are we doing here? Oh, it's paused. It's waiting for me. We'll wait for a second here. Once this gets started, I'll pull it out. I'll bring it over here right now, though. What's happening? Extruder below minimum temp. Why is it doing that? I don't know why it didn't heat that up correctly. I haven't changed anything since last time. Let me manually heat it, I guess, and then we'll get started and see if it causes that error again. The other 2 heated up to 220, but for some reason the first one did not, which is the one it needs right now, so that's weird. Did you see that Sunlu is coming out with an AMS dryer upgrade? So I didn't see that, but I got an email from Sunlu like a week ago saying, hey, we sent you our AMS dryer upgrade. I don't even think I have. The only AMS I have that hasn't been modified now is the AMS 2 Pro, which it's not compatible with, and I have an AMS downstairs that was given to me with the initial Kickstarter, like pre-Kickstarter, which they told me to basically dispose of because the electronics in it weren't the final electronics and it won't be able to like work on later versions. I don't know. So I don't even know if I'll be able to use it. I gotta say, like, I'm not a fan of companies, even if I've like, you know, worked with you before or sent or done a video on something you have, like, I'm not a fan of them just sending stuff. I'm just not a fan. So I don't know what I'll end up doing with that. So here we go. That did not work. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's actually not working. Idle timeout. Tool 0 had no saved temperature. I'm gonna just turn this thing off really quick. I'm gonna shut it down and restart it and see if something glitched. I don't know. It was just printing fine, so I don't know why it wouldn't be working. So yeah, let's turn it off. Let's turn it back on and just see if that does it. Why do we still have power? I'm super confused right now. There we go. That was weird. I guess it was the power button that didn't fully engage. Okay, so now it's powered on. I just used Tool 1 for the truck print. I mean, when I say just used, it was 4 days ago, so I don't know why there would be an issue with Tool 1 or Tool 0 not heating the temperature on its own. And I haven't changed anything unless, oh wait, no, this is still set as ProForge. Printing temp is 220, so it should be heating up to 220. Let's check really quickly here. Filament load temp, filament unload temp, purge temp, beat temp, retraction. Yeah, I don't know what would have caused an issue. Okay, let's try this again. Hey, Kegel! So yeah, for some reason, you know what? It's supposed to, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be scanning. That's probably why it's going to that temperature. So for some reason it's not, it's like skipping that. So it says, done, dock all printheads, which all printheads are indeed docked. Now it should grab it. If I'm not mistaken, it should grab it at 150 and do like the meshing and then park it and then have it heat up. Okay. Okay, so now it's doing this. I don't think it did this last time, did it? Did we see it scan and do this? I don't think it did this. Something glitched. Right? I don't think it did this last time. So for some reason it skipped this, because it should be scanning now. Yeah, there we go. For some reason it didn't call this macro. I don't know why that would be. It definitely didn't do this, right, everyone? Like a second ago? I'm pretty sure that I hit print and it just tried to print, so something went wrong with the macros. Yeah, I definitely didn't do this. I would have remembered a mesh like that. Okay, so let me pull the power cable on this. I'll just bring this over and show you guys it. I mean, like I said, I will have a full video on it, hopefully Saturday. I'm working on editing it right now. I keep telling myself, like, try to keep videos concise, like, just get to the point. But this video on this dryer so far, unless I chop some stuff, is 18 minutes long. And I'm like, how the heck did I find 18 minutes worth of things to talk about? But I go over, like, you know, what it is, the specs, what the installation process is like, how it's worked for me, some of the testing I did. Okay, now it seems like it's working. Yeah, something just glitched out on it on that last print. I don't know. Uh-oh, I also just realized there's actually, one, there's filament on the nozzle, and two, I didn't actually get rid of all of the filament from the build plate, so we'll see if that has an effect on it. There's a couple tiny pieces of black filament on the base. Some people reported needing a weight adding to their macro to make sure it doesn't get out of whack. Okay, maybe that's what I have to do. That's the first time it's done it, so I'll rule that out as just a one-off. But yeah, if it ends up happening repeat, then I'll definitely have to investigate a little bit more. Okay, so now it's heating up properly. We're at 222, so it should be dropping down, and then it'll grab it in just a second here. I wonder if I can scrape these off really quickly. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Get out of here. Yeah, the first layer looks so much better after I got that figured out last week. I just want to make sure that like the first layer goes down properly, and then we'll take a look at the dryer, and then I'll just pretty much leave this thing printing and we can chat about whatever. So it's just doing the first layer of the purge tower or prime tower. I don't remember exactly, but it was something silly, like they used the wrong heat up command in the macro. Got it. I just find it, yeah, it's just weird to me that like, you'd think with a macro or something like that, like that it would be consistent every single time. Uh-oh. I might need to restart this. From some of the filament that was on, yeah, I'm gonna stop it. Some of the filament that was on the nozzle that I didn't remove it got kind of warped. Is that a spider? What do you mean, man of the croc? Ah! Okay, let's try this again. Okay, don't put your hand in printers, y'all. All right, let's try this one more time. There was just, it wiped off that excess bit of filament in the wrong spot, and it looked like it was wanting to cause that to lift. So I'm still really, I mean, the first layer is such a crucial layer that if there's an issue with it, I want to address it. Okay, so while that's doing that thing, let's take a look at this really quickly here. So, man, it's right where Chad is. Let me move this camera, bring it around the back for a sec here. Take a look at this. Now my HDMI cable's caught on stuff. This printer's too big. Oh, it's caught under the tripod. Okay, one sec. That's why. Let me lift the tripod up. There we go. Okay. I should have another foot of reach, hopefully. Okay, it's still gonna be a little bit awkward, but that's kind of our default around here. So let's zoom out a little bit and focus. And put on autofocus. Here, let's see if this works. There we go. So yeah, this is the IBIS Tetris, and it is going to be weird reflections and stuff, so I apologize for that. But it is an upgrade for the original AMS. The lighting also sucks, so you're getting, if you want proper footage, watch the video. But yes, this is a dryer upgrade. Oh, it says dock all prints. Who did that? A dryer upgrade for the original AMS. And so the way it works is it keeps everything from here, like the main AMS, and you remove the cover. And so the cover gets replaced with this guy, which has, let's see, dividers in it. And then you add dividers down here. So the chambers aren't sealed. It's basically just acrylic butting up against acrylic, but you also put in acrylic in the back that completely blocks the gap back there, and you put in acrylic up here. So it does block that out. There's also a bit of silicone that goes in the back, just a strip to kind of isolate it. But each of these lanes has its own heater, its own thermistor, its own humidity sensor, and a fan that blows temperature. And then each of these dryers has its own controller right here. And so this lets you set temperature. I would say, so like the biggest things are that people might complain about is the max temperature on these is 65 Celsius, which is fine for a lot of things. But if you're wanting to do like polycarbonate drying, I would argue that it's going to be fairly inefficient at drying polycarbonate. I've definitely dried ASA with the 65C heater. I'm not saying that a little bit hotter wouldn't be beneficial, but like it's still a pretty good range. And I mentioned this in my video, and I haven't actually asked IBIS, but my theory is that it's possible they capped it at 65 Celsius because of the material that the actual AMS uses, where going hotter than that might actually cause this housing to warp or deform. I don't know that, but that's just a theory that I have, because IBIS has released a heater that can at least get to 70 Celsius, so they clearly have the capability to warm things hotter. That's just my theory as to why they might have done that. But yeah, each of these lanes can be set to their own temperature, and I did test it. I tested the first lane I set to 45 Celsius, and the second lane I set to 60 or 65 Celsius possibly. And I think it was after 40 minutes, the first lane was spot on at 45 Celsius, and the second lane was at 61 Celsius. I have noticed from my testing that it does seem that the actual temperature reported by at least my thermocouples is about 4 Celsius lower than the temperature on screen, which isn't fantastic. But I do also say in my video that although I would rather have temperature be spot on, if it was going to be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, I would definitely prefer it to be a little bit lower, because I've had other dryers I've tested out where it says it's doing like 70 Celsius, but the actual air that's blowing out of it and what I'm reading is more like 90 Celsius. And when you have a situation like that, you run the risk of actually softening the material or damaging your material, melting it on the spool. So I would like for it to be spot on, of course, but I would prefer probably a couple Celsius cooler than much warmer, because at least you're not at the risk of damaging your material. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. It has its own heater. It has its own power supply, so it does require its own power supply. It doesn't connect to the AMS. But I do also address like for anyone wondering, like, why would you want something like this over the AMS2 Pro? The main reasons I can think of, dude, that blob of filament, man. Hold on. I'm gonna let it ride this time. Hold on. Stupid blob. Okay, it doesn't look like it's lifting it. I think we're gonna be fine this time. So yeah, I do address in the video, like, why would somebody want this over getting an AMS2 Pro? And there's a handful of things I cover, which I'm like giving you guys the full video. If you watch the video and at least hit the like button. But the main things I can think of is a few. So one, a lot of people have the original AMS, and the AMS2 Pro is, I think when I checked, it was $369. Well, the upgrade for this on like the pre-order right now is $180, and then it looks like the final price will be $200. So it is at least $160 to $170 cheaper. The second reason is the AMS2 Pro cannot heat while printing. It has to be idle for it to be heating the material. Well, this, you can heat it while it's printing. On top of that, the AMS2 Pro can only set one temperature for the entire AMS. So you can't have different materials in there if you want them to, well, you can't have varying different materials in there unless you're wanting to risk potentially having them, sorry, there's a lot going on right now. I'm trying to get this in focus as well. Why is this not focusing? Because we're in autofocus, that makes a lot of sense. 1 second. What are we doing here? Okay, we're doing a skirt around the whole thing. There we go. Okay, so, and then the final reason is there's a lot of people I know that don't care about, like, they're happy to use Bamboo Studio. They've just updated their printers. But to use the AMS2 Pro, even on like X1 Carbon or P1S, it's my understanding you have to update your printer so that way you can actually interface with it. And by updating your printer, you break direct compatibility with Orca slicers. So there's a lot of people out there that aren't updating the firmware on their printers because they want to use Orca slicer directly and not have to go sort of around. And this lets you upgrade your AMS to have a heater without having to go to the AMS2 Pro and break basically that compatibility via firmware. So yes. Do you need anything? I'm good right now. I will say that at some point here, if you want to bring up a slice or two of last night's pizza, I will not be upset with that. That sounds pretty good. It's a single plug, GPs. It's a single plug. So all 4 of the heaters go into one heater module, and then there's a single plug. Yeah, 4 cables would have gotten a pretty big complaint from me. Just a single one. From what I've been told, you can run the AMS2 Pro in the last firmware before it broke Okra. Okay. Well then, my video might be slightly incorrect, and I'm sure a lot of people in the comment section will let me know. It was my understanding that it was the firmware that came out with the H2D, and that was the one that broke it. So maybe I'm incorrect. I still stand by it though. We're like, if you buy a printer that's already, oh man, you'd already be updated then. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I also did, one thing I was concerned about, GPs, was power draw, because I mentioned in the video too that like I've tripped the circuits in this, I've tripped this circuit way too many times since moving in. Literally just 2 printers heating up at the same time will trip the 15 amp breakers that we have here. So I had a concern about how much power draw it would have with all 4 heaters heating at the same time. So I hooked it up to a little, voltage meter or a little power meter and turned on all of them at the same time. And the cap that it hit was around 330 watts. And then once it hit, like once they all hit temperature and we're just kind of maintaining, it went down to around 250 roughly, with an occasional spike up to 300. So it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Some of the bigger dryers I've tested out recently that do get a lot hotter, but they're I want to say like 450 or 500 watts. So this is definitely less than that. The other thing I forgot to mention, which people will like, is that on the heating modules themselves on the back, when they're heating, there's a motor inside that raises the lid. So it lets a lot of air in and out of the unit, which one complaint I've gotten literally every time I've done a review on a dryer is that there's no way for moisture to easily escape. And I've seen that where while I'm drying, I usually do the sponge test, which I do with this as well. There's a bunch of moisture just kind of up on the walls because it doesn't have an easy way to exit the unit. So this does actually raise, each cell has its own little lid that will raise up when it's heating. And then once it's completed its heating cycle, it will drop it down and seal that chamber. So I from my testing of the sponge, where I basically take a sponge, cut it in half, fill it with moisture till it's 20 grams, and then turn it on to just 50 Celsius, it still took 2.5 hours to dry out that sponge pretty much completely, which is right on par with what the other dryers I tested also had. But I know that people will still like the fact that it does open and close itself during drying and then not drying, so, yep. How are you planning on running the Venture XL on that circuit? I don't know, LTX. I don't know. That is a that is a wonderful question. I believe that you can stagger heat the Venture XL, right? If I'm not mistaken. My game plan is, because Aaron, I'm moving the garage around. So originally I had the 2-car bay and Aaron had the single-car bay, but we got a family vehicle that is too wide to fit in the single-car bay. So I'm taking over a single-car bay, which will be like my recording area for garage stuff. So like lasers, CNC, and big printers I can't get up here. And then I'm using part of the 2-car bay as just kind of like a storage and staging area. And there is not very many outlets in the single-car bay. I had them put a dedicated circuit in the 2-car bay because the CNC machine and the dust collection needed their own circuits. But I'm very likely going to have 2 or 3 20-amp circuits added to the single-car bay, because that's going to be my new home for stuff like this. So, but for the sake of actually building the Venture XL and what things are going to look like in a couple months, I have no idea. I have no idea. You can config for sequential heating. It comes with a 20-amp power cord. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check our electrical panel or our box, but I think that even the dedicated circuit I had them add when they were building the house was only a 15-amp. So I don't know how it's going to go, man. I don't know. It's a great question, LTX. I know the struggle. I have 4 to 5 printers on the same UPS and have to strategically start prints, especially when using high temp materials, or else I overload the UPS. Yeah. It's weird to me. Like, I can have 2 printers going and all of my lights and stuff like that, and it'll work totally fine. Then out of nowhere, sometimes like mid-print, it'll just trip the breaker. And I'm like, I didn't do anything right now. Like, we've been at temperature, what's happening? So I don't love it. There is actually, I've showed this before, it's kind of silly. Let me go. So I actually, when they built this place, had them install ceiling sockets. So I've got one there and one on the other side of this room. And those were intended for like a camera to not have to run the cable all the way. And then I was just gonna add HDMI like through the wall down to the computer, which hasn't actually happened. But those, although I didn't request them to be on a separate circuit, are on a separate circuit. So I technically have a second circuit up here. And I do use the other one. I can't show you guys because there's a bunch of crap in the way, but I do pull, like if I'm printing now with more than one printer, I pull power from the ceiling. Hey, Killer Prince, how's it going, man? Yeah, this thing looks sweet. The only thing's going on right now is I have to figure out why the screen's not working, which I think might have just been a dead on arrival screen. It's a 5-inch Big Tree Tech DSi. I've tried different cables now and that's not doing anything. And then the cooling on this feels like it should be better. It's got this like CPAP setup. And so I have a couple of things I'm thinking of doing. One is Big Tree Tech sent over their CPAP setup a while back, so I might try to throw that on in place of this big fan that's on here and see if that increases cooling. If that doesn't, because this has panels, I might add an additional cooling fan, like an auxiliary fan that's basically mounted on the side here, blowing air across this thing. That might be another option, but cooling is the thing I think it can have some improvements on. Our input shaper graphs were good for one axis and really bad for another axis, so I need to potentially play around with that a little bit. There's a few things, but overall, like, I'm quite pleased. For an open source printer that came in a kit that is a tool changer, I have a lot more good things to say than gripes with the machine, that's for sure. Cooling deck seems really far away from the nozzle. Yeah, I also agree with that, and I wonder if there's a community mod that's come out for this yet. Have you tried talking to the screen nicely? Believe me, man, there was a lot of like sweet talking and like, you know, brushing the top of it nicely. It just wasn't working. Also, ducks are very one-sided. Is there 2 ducks on this thing? Like, Oh no, it's not. It's literally a single, yeah, it's just a single thing coming down. I imagine part of the reason why it is the way that it is because it has to swap tools. So like, but I would still think that there would be some room for improvement on it. But I do see the challenge of ducting with it being a tool changer, since the ducts are on the, you know, the stationary head and not the tools that are being changed. Price was too low on their site. What do you mean, Sean? What do you think about adding a stand and epoxy cement reinforcement to the chassis of a large 3D printer? A cubic design like this 3D printer to make it more solid and resistant to vibrations. I don't know. I have no idea how effective that would be. I get the idea. I mean, even with like the Milo, I haven't done it yet, but Milo in like the center column, the recommendation is epoxy and sand. And for that, it makes a lot more sense to me. On a mill, like, you know, subtractive manufacturing, I would think that makes a lot of sense. On a 3D printer, I don't know how effective that would be. Where would you add it as well? Like, because of the fact that like usually they're extrusions, you don't really have a lot of hollow cavity on this type of setup. Would you swap out the extrusions, or would you just basically fill something with epoxy and sand and then bolt it to the printer? The geometry of that nozzle is awful for aerodynamics. The geometry of that nozzle. You mean the nozzle, or are you talking about like the entire like hot side of this thing? Because the nozzle is just a standard nozzle. Reinforce the outer cube using 3D printed molds slipped into the aluminum profile into which a mixture of sand and epoxy. I would love to see a test on that done. I just can't say right now. I've never seen anyone test that to see like how effective, you know, that would be. Did they raise the price on it, Sean, or no? I'm curious to see what the price is now, the ProForge 300. ProForge 300. Products, ProForge 300. Okay, I'm on the right thing. Okay, so if you get the base version with one tool head, it's $1,200. And then with 3 tools, you're looking at $1,600 for a 3-tool setup. Then all 3 tool heads. I think this is what mine is the max. Yeah, so you have the enclosure in the touchscreen. So this version, so this is the one I have is $2,016 retail. I don't have the Ultra. This one, the Ultra, the only difference is that you get Revo hot ends versus what I have. It feels pretty competitive to me. It feels pretty competitive to me. I filled my light stinger frame with epoxy and sand, makes it super beefy. Did you notice any difference when it comes to things like input shaping or print quality, Caleb, by doing that? The whole air nozzle design with its odd turns and tapers does nothing for getting all the air to the print reliably. It will be very turbulent. Got you. Didn't Tom Chandler test a load of vibration dampening solutions a while back? He might have. I don't remember. I did see that. Yeah, so ProForge just announced today. I actually got like a notification on Twitter. ProForge, is it just called the ProForge 5? Yeah. So it's not live yet, but it's basically, you know, the next version of the ProForge 4. So 5 tool heads. I do think I really like this. The electronics being underneath it is kind of a pain with how heavy this is. I mean, that's probably an understatement. It's really a pain. So I do like that they've moved all the electronics to this side box, which hopefully means that it's easier to access. I am curious about spool management on 5. Like, I'm curious to see what that looks like. And I'm also curious to see if they made any changes to the bed. It does look like this is, it looks like this is using 4Z motors instead of 3. The tool head looks, I mean, I can't see a whole lot, but the tool head looks really similar to what's on this one. So yeah, I'm curious to see what this looks like. The side electronics is weird. I mean, maybe, but I like the side electronics better than having to flip this thing over. I mean, one thing that could be really cool would be top-mounted electronics, like the Trident mod, where you basically have DIN rails and you can access it from the bottom, but without having to flip the thing over. That's probably my ideal situation. I failed to capture data before. Oh no. That's all right. That's very relatable. There's a lot of things I've done where I'm like, oh, I should have recorded that or seen, like, I don't know actually how it was before this. Hey, Luke. There's actually benefits to having the frame not entirely rigid. The guy who did the T100 T250 has a good explanation in his new video for the T250. Why don't I know what that is? T100 and T250. T100 and T250. Nope, that's a golf club. What is the T100? Oh, this is that the metal one that was shown off at Rocky Mountain? Like the all CNC'd one? I'm pretty sure that Nero did a like video where he showed it off. I know, yeah, it does sound like the Terminator. Well, our legs are going in. We're looking pretty pretty Chewbacca-y. Our first tool change isn't for a while, right? Like, let me see, when's the belt on this guy show up? Yeah, we've still got a ways to go. We're getting towards, we're like right here. Right here. So we have a little bit higher than crotch. We'll see the arms showing up before we see that. How long is this print? Okay, that's not terrible. A little under 3 hours. Basically right at 3 hours. We probably won't finish it on stream. Like I said, I'm probably gonna do a little bit shorter of a stream today. I'm just got some stuff to do. I'd like to do some editing for like an hour and a half before I take Jack to swim. And because Friday here is the 4th, we're doing like we did a block party last year because this is a new neighborhood. We wanted to invite everybody, but after being here for a while now, like there's a lot of people that we just don't know or don't talk to, and it was kind of like we tried doing a potluck last year and a lot of people didn't bring anything. So this year we're just doing, I think it's like 7 houses, like the houses of people that we know and talk to. And so that's already quite a lot of people, but they're also bringing like friends and family and stuff. So I think Aaron said the last count was like 30 adults and 14 children. So luckily everyone's contributing, but there's just, Friday is going to be kind of crazy getting like barbecue and everything set up out front. So I won't be able to edit. So I've got to try to get the Ibis Tetris video as much as like, or people you don't like. I don't, there's not a lot of people I don't like, Killa. Like even people that like I don't really agree with everything, like I feel like I'm pretty understanding and neutral. You have to be a pretty like unkind person for me to actually not like you. I can put up with a lot. I think I can at least. That's the Ston Wolf. Okay, so it's not the same printer. It's all print. Okay, so it's not the print I'm thinking of. Never mind. Wait, is the T100 the one that was sort of like inspired by the Rook? Because that's what it is, right? I think I'm missing it up. That's a small gathering. For us, that's a huge gathering, Hasios. My family is very small, man. Most of my life, holidays were just me, my mom, my dad, and my brother, just the 4 of us. So for me, it's a ton of freaking people. Yep, okay. Yep, that's the one I can remember then. The one that I did like it won like the Benchy test, right? Speed test. I do remember looking at that printer. It's been a while. I just forgot that's what was called the T100. For anyone wondering about the garden, I've had the most stressful garden week of my gardening career so far. I was starting to get some slight harvests. Like I pulled a few zucchinis, the broccolini was pulled, and then we've had blueberries. And so I noticed last week that the zucchini leaves, a few of them were looking kind of wilted. And I thought to myself, it's probably just the heat, because usually during the day the plants kind of wilt when it's the highest temperature, and then at nighttime they sort of perk back up. Andrew, thank you so much for the $9.99 for the Welcome to Wednesday fund. Cheers, man. Hope your week's going well. Happy almost 4th of July. So I went out there one morning to just kind of investigate the plants, and I noticed these bugs. And I didn't think anything of them at first. I thought that they were kind of like maybe stink bugs. We'd seen them before, but then I saw like them hanging out on the plant. And I'm like, okay, that seems kind of weird. Plant looks sad. There's these bug things hanging out on the plant. So I do a quick search on my phone out there in the garden of like, you know, squash or zucchini pests. And the first thing that pops up is what I'm staring at. So they're called squash bugs. And a lot of people here, maybe you're familiar with them. I'm from Southern California. They didn't exist in Southern California, so I'd never seen them before. And they are the enemy. They're the enemy. They basically bite into mostly zucchinis, squash, and melons, but they bite into the plant and inject it with something that sort of like stuns it and sort of kills it. And then they feed off of it, and then they go onto your plant and they plant a bunch of eggs all over it. So I spent a lot of time last week with duct tape wrapped around my hand, peeling squash bug eggs off of my leaves and trying to trellis things and basically trying to remove as many of those bugs as I could. So there was that. Then the Brussels sprouts have aphids all over them, as do my cherry tree. The raspberries have spider mites all over them, and then one of my tomato plants split in half last week. So yeah, it's been it's like World War. I'm like, every time I go out there I have to put on like my war paint now. And yeah, I was last week with Jackson was sick last week as well, so we weren't sleeping, and then that happened in the garden, and I'm just like, oh, what is going on? I just need a little break. I just need a little break. So yep, that's what's going on here. Okay, let me get caught up on chat. My dad was in the Air Force, so that would have been a handful of neighbors and usually only half the street. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for a lot of people, like I know one of my neighbors I talked to, and like his wedding was supposed to have like 200 something people because of how much family he has. Like, that is wild. But for me, like, my mom's side of the family lives in Europe, so you know, I haven't seen them in many years. And then my dad's side of the family, like, there was a bunch of family drama that stemmed from really a lot of it before I was even born, so they just haven't been in the picture. So it's always been very small gatherings for me on holidays. Pretty sure the T250 is currently the fastest printer. Crazy that it's made of 10 kilo. Oh my god, I gotta look at the. Hold on, let me do a quick little search. I want to get caught up on chat, but I also don't want to let this just go. So T250 printer. Let me just pull that up so we can. Cool. Random question, but what's your preference for Z screws? 3 like this printer or 2 similar? 3 is my preference. Yeah, 3 is my preference. Because with two you can trim like left and right, but 3 makes a plane, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but 3 makes a plane. So if you can tram 3 different screws, you can truly level the bed. I mean, obviously there's still some asterisks next to that. Like if the bed isn't flat to begin with, it can only tram it so perfectly. But two will get you close, but 3 is ideal. And then 4, if my understanding was with 4 is not necessary. It's overkill in most situations. We had the same issue with our zucchini. They were doing great until they weren't. Yeah, check for these bugs, man. They look like stink bugs. I'm gonna show a picture. They're not really, I don't think they're like gross, luckily. I know some people don't like bugs, but like they're not, to me, they're not. I'm just gonna show you a photo on my phone. I got a photo. I was so pissed because not only were they on my plant, but they were like mating right in front of me. I was so pissed, man. Where's the photo I got of these guys? Yeah, here they are. I was like, not only do they have a lot of nerve, look at these guys, dude. They were mating right in front of me. I'm like, get out of my garden. And then I got, this was the, this guy was the creeper. I was like, well, this guy's just watching. So they look like, let me go back to this one. They look a lot like stink bugs, but they have a little bit more of a diamond shape to them. And then the eggs look like this, which I was kind of fascinated with. Sorry, this is a little bit more gross probably, but I was kind of fascinated by the fact that they're spaced perfectly. Like, it almost looks like a robot placed them. They have the like perfect spacing between all of them. But yeah, they're awful. And the biggest thing I would say is, like, yes, seeing a few of them is bad, but with how quickly they reproduce and lay eggs, you need to stay on top of those eggs. Like, if you let those eggs go and they end up hatching, which if my memory serves me correctly, it's about 10 to 14 days cycle of hatching from laying eggs. Whenever there's a pest, I learn everything I can about it. So you have about 10 to 14 days before they hatch, and once they hatch, you're kind of screwed, man. It's just no bueno. Hey, BBs. My sugar baby watermelons are amazing. Oh, I gotta try those next year. I'm part of the vegetable gardening Reddit, which also happens to have a lot of like fruit and stuff as well. And I keep seeing people talk about those. The thumb is doing okay. It still hurts. I don't know if I updated you guys. Insurance finally approved of my thumb brace, and it was my $51 thumb brace. And when I went to go pick it up, we found out that it wouldn't even work for me. It only covers, I'll just switch cams really quick here. So the thumb brace only covers, like, it's basically your whole arm. I think we talked about this, and it goes up to like right here. But on my thumb, the area that's swollen and is hurting is like right where the wrinkles are. So I went on Amazon for $5 and just picked up some of these guys, which is what I thought I was getting. So it just goes over the tip of your thumb, and then you wrap it around like this, and then it doesn't let that part, like this part's fine, it's up here, it doesn't let that bend. The issue I'm running into is I work on the computer all day, so I can't actually have this on for a lot of the day. So I'm trying to, Aaron's been like poking me, hey, if you're not doing computer work, like, you need to keep this on. So thumb still hurts, but I at least have an Amazon brace now because I waited 3 weeks for insurance to approve it. They approved it, and they didn't even have one that would work for my situation, which is awesome. Is there any slicer or mod that would let you mark a second STL to use as a purge object? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I thought that was a Prusa slicer thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if Orca has it. I haven't looked into it though, and I think there's definitely some limitations. Like, I'm pretty sure it still requires a bit of a purge tower, but maybe a smaller purge tower. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I would, because like the geometry of it, like, it would have to be big enough to have enough material to purge into. So you're either going to, the thing I would think of is, like, maybe if you had a bigger purge object than needed, that would work, but you'd then be wasting more material in that sense because you have to purge more to make that object. Because if you're obviously purging too little, then, you know, the object's going to fall apart. So, but I do think that's a thing. I've heard ladybugs are really good for aphids, and there is a place around here that sells them, but doing a lot of research, I've just heard mixed things about, like, something about, one, the ladybugs are sourced in weird ways, and that they typically won't stick around because they're not local ladybugs. I don't know. And then the other thing I heard was that a lot of times they'll just bail out unless the area you're putting them in, like, has the things that the ladybugs want. But I have definitely heard multiple people mention ladybugs. Switch to growing livestock. I got an HOA, man. I can't have any non-domesticated animals. There's a cow that lives right next to us though, because that's like private land before they built this. But I told Aaron that if we didn't have that requirement from HOA, I could see myself owning some chickens and a goat. The weed situation around here is insane, and I would love to just have a goat that I'm like, you're my weed patrol / buddy, and I would love a goat. What am I missing? What am I missing? Did you talk to ProForge? I didn't talk to them about the bed, I don't think. I think that the bed situation happened after. That was last week, I think, when we saw the bed was pretty tacoed. And the email I sent them was prior to that, and I haven't heard back yet. So when I do hear back from them, I'll try to remember to ask them about the bed and just say, hey, the tolerances on here say, you know, 0.1, but with the magnet and stuff, it could affect it. But I'm like, this seems like it's probably outside of that range. So I will. Bugs with OCD. Yeah, it's pretty impressive, man. I despise them. I absolutely despise. I don't have anything against bugs. Like, wasps to me are the enemy, but bugs in general, like, you know, whatever. It's nature, it's life. Like, but when you come into my garden and you murder my plants, that's when we've got big problems. Swam, 2 freaking years. Thank you so much, buddy. You said last week, I think last week you showed up late, right? You said you were back in Sweden. I love most all animals. I was talking to my mom last night. They're back in California and they're coming out here in a week. They'll be here for just a week and a half before going back home, and then they're going to Europe to visit family. But they have a cabin, that's the house they have in California, and my mom was so excited to tell me about the raccoons that turned on the motion light. Like, like my whole family, well, like I said, small family, but the family that raised me, my mom, dad, and brother, like, we love animals and nature and all that stuff. So all animals I'm a big fan of, pretty much. Chickens are great. I have some and haven't had to buy eggs. That's incredible. Chickens are domesticated. I need to ask the HOA. I feel like Aaron would let me. What do you do though? So the question I have for anybody here that has chickens that lives in a cold climate, like we get, we have snowy winters here, not crazy snowy where I'm at, but we get snowy winters where the days are like, 30 degrees Fahrenheit or a little bit less than that. What do you do with the chickens when it's really cold like that? You just have heaters in the chicken coop? Or I imagine you don't just leave the chickens outside in the snow. That seems cruel. It seems cruel to me. Print tower is bigger than Chewy. Yeah, so I will say though, the print tower is quite hollow. Like if you look, I think the reason why they make it bigger is because they having it fall over is the death of your print, pretty much. So it is a big print tower, but if we look at the sliced file of it, well, I guess, okay, so at least here where we're not doing color swaps, it's pretty much hollow, right? We have like the base of it, and it's just 2 perimeters and a couple of things, and then it does get a little bit more as it gets to the color swaps, and then it kind of shortens out again. So it looks big, but it's really not that much. Like, does it say our purge? So in total, so I guess it is about the same as the model. It's 21 grams. So yeah, you are definitely purging a fair bit. You can probably shorten it. I mean, the thing is with this, like, it's not the same as with like Box Turtle or an AMS. Like, we're not purging out the colors, so you don't need as much. It's really just about getting the filament flowing consistently. So we could probably go smaller than this. I imagine this is probably a safe value that they just have in place to ensure no issues, but it's something that I bet you can fine tune and decrease its size. We have, okay, gotcha. Heater for the chicken. The cold weather doesn't bother the chicken. You have to knit those sweaters. Oh my God, how adorable. You need a hen house with heat. Chickens need a hen house that's insulated. Gotcha. Dude, the idea, it is a wild machine, Grow. The idea, or like the image of chickens and knitted sweaters makes me happy. Our ducks have an insulated building and a heat lamp. Got it. Okay, so it seems like heat lamp is the #1 thing. Hey, Jax. A heater wouldn't hurt, but chicks are really warm creatures. Ours used to melt the snow on the top of the coop above. Wow, where they roosted. We have about 25 chickens and 30 ducks. The cold won't harm the chicken, but it doesn't hurt to have a broad heater in your coop. Yeah, if I had chickens, which, like I said, I don't think our HOA allows it, I'll send them an email, man, because if they say we can, I'm just gonna say, like, hey, it says only domesticated animals. Like, what does that entail? And see if I can get a list. Most places need to be zoned properly for things like chickens. Above and beyond HOA rules, you'll want to check with your local county. Yeah, I have a feeling I can't have chickens, man. I'm almost positive. Chickens in HOA usually means 0 roosters. At least down here in Arizona. Got it. Yeah, there is a rooster around us somewhere, but it's not. It's the houses. Some of the houses around us have been here for 15, 20 years. So before everything became an HOA. So. Chickens without roosters means we're not getting eggs, right? I'm imagining, I've never owned chickens, but I imagine the way that typically reproduction works, you probably have to have at least 1 rooster if you want to get some eggs. Or am I wrong? I mean, this is a 3D printing channel, not a rooster channel. I don't know much about my birds, man. I like birds. I don't know. I know a lot more about the reproduction process. You don't need roosters for eggs. Wow, okay. Yeah, I know a lot more about the fertilization process of plants than I do of animals, if I'm being honest with you. I've had to research a lot because I've got like 8 corn stalks and it's not enough for them to self-pollinate. So I've been having to self-pollinate both, and we don't have a ton of pollinators here for whatever reasoning. So I've had to go out and manually pollinate my corn and my zucchini, which, which is a little weird. Chickens are just birds that happen to live in your yard. Get a mini horse. He says this. You guys have a great, man. I need you guys when I'm drafting my email to the HOA. Chicken body temp can reach 107 Celsius. Wow. Cow, sheep, and pigs are all domesticated. My bird laid an egg after 25 years of me thinking it was a male. Wasp, I know, Greenbeard, I know they're wasps that are pollinators, but in defense to that, they're not very efficient pollinators. I did quite a bit of research on wasps and found like threads on both, like kill them all and like, no, they're really good. I think that the thing wasps are better at is pest control. That's at least from what I saw. They eat a lot of pests that you don't want, but I don't think they're very efficient pollinators. Egg fertilization is when a rooster is needed. Got it. So to make the chicks, but to actually lay the eggs, it's not necessary. That makes a lot of sense. Do we need a biology mess on? Yeah. Flush it. Okay, yeah, flush into object. Yep. Who's calling me? Boise. Oh, this could be sleep study stuff. I'm gonna try. I think I mentioned it last week, maybe not, but I've got a dental thing that was supposed to be for sleep apnea, and it doesn't work that great, man. Like it works okay, but then the bands wear out on it. So I'm just committing to getting a CPAP finally. But in the United States, the CPAP requires a prescription, unfortunately. So I have a feeling who's calling me is probably the referral person for the sleep study thing I have to do again. Okay, we are beyond crotch at this point. Crotch is supported, it looks like. And I see the arms, so we should be starting to do color swap pretty soon here. How far along? Yeah, we should be color swapping really soon, actually. We need to get a mod about it, Where You Come From book. I'll read it to Jack and I'll take notes. Have you thought about keeping bees? I don't think we can keep bees here. I don't think I have interest in beekeeping. I like bees. I mean, they're like, when I see wasps, I'm not. Oh, there we go. Tool change. There we go. I like bees a lot, and when I see them, I get happy because I'm like, yay, pollinators, and they're just good. But I don't think I would want to beekeep. One of my family members, well, I don't think we're blood related. I think it's my mom's. No, it might be my godmother's parents that live in, is it Switzerland? I think they live in Sweden, actually. He's been beekeeping for a long time, and I love some fresh honey. We get some fresh honey from the farmer's market, but I don't think that I have interest in beekeeping. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the giveaway, everyone. Like I said, this will probably be a shorter stream. It's been 2.5 months of building this thing, and I just wanted to have sort of a, did that do what it was supposed to? Yeah, it looks like it purged. Interesting. So the first purge definitely takes longer for the filament to come out, but I think it did what it needed to. Yeah, before we start the next, I just want to do one chill stream before we start building the next thing. I enjoy building a lot, but it is nice to like not have to have so much mental focus the entire time that we're streaming. Okay, let me get this giveaway link open for everybody. I think Jack might be coming back up. Yep. Jack? Jack? You coming back? There's mommy. Ooh, pizza. Yay, thank you. Okay, do you see what we're printing? It's a Chewbacca. A little Chewy. Yeah, he did. He was super cute. Yeah, so I'll show you what we're printing if you look at the TV. So this is what we are... What's that? No. This is just a little Chewy. See him? Yeah. Yeah. We just started doing the color swapping. Uh-oh. I don't know, it paused. Is it supposed to do that? It is, okay, it's just waiting on temperature, I guess. You didn't touch anything? Jack said, I didn't touch anything. Next build, yeah. Oh no, I forgot the pizza's here. I shoved my fingers in it. Next build is not the Phoenix. It's the, oh, what kind of pizza is it? Wouldn't you guys all like to know? I'll show you guys. I should have a trigger warning. What is that on that pizza? Can you guys tell me? What toppings are that? I can't tell. Anyone, can you guys see what's toppings on this pizza? Pineapple, Jack says. Good job, baby. Yeah, can we get some pineapple pizza emojis in chat? We've already got some rolling through. Ted, thank you so much for the gifted membership, buddy. It looks like Bjarn, you got the membership, man. Thank you so much, Ted. Woohoo! The best of all pizza toppings. Pineapple is less cursed than banana curry. Curry? I haven't had that. Have you had banana pizza, Swam? I know you're in Sweden, and I know that Nappen has talked about it a few times. I don't know how common it is, or if he's like kind of trolling a little bit. I mean, my mom is Swedish, and I don't recall ever in my life her being like, let's have banana pizza, so. Hey, Terminally Chill. What is? Oh, yeah. He's a little guy. Hmm? Did he nap with you for a little bit after, or no? No. Okay. Okay. He didn't sleep for very long if he did at all.
Yeah, no, I know. Actually, he got it, but it was very short after I got it.
Maurice with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Maurice. Looks like Jose got one, GTR Dad, Steve got one, Collie got one, and Joseph got one. Go up, Jackson, to say hello. You gonna stand up? Whoa, can you say hi to everybody again? Are we going swimming today? Hey, Jackson, can you talk into the mic here? Say pineapple.
Pineapple.
You guys hear him? You say pineapple pizza.
No.
No. No. What did you eat? You had melons?
Yeah.
Yummy.
It's too much.
What do you say?
Too much.
2 melons? Too much melon. Oh, Jackson. Okay. You can say bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wave. Whee! All right. Pete's off the tables. We're gonna go swimming a little later, buddy. I love you. Bye, baby. Thanks for visiting. That's fine. She's coming. She's like, get me out of here. That's all right. I'll get her out of here. Lisa with the 3 freaking years. That is incredible. Thank you so much, Lisa. Eat Daddy's pizza, Jack. He likes pineapple pizza, man. He does. He's he does. He doesn't have a choice. So giveaway link is officially posted in chat for anyone that wants to enter in. It's for a spool of Polymaker filament or Polymaker gift card, depending on where you're at. And we will do that drawing in about 20 or so minutes here. I have something cool I want to show you guys. I don't think, they didn't say I couldn't show it. I haven't posted it yet because I just wasn't sure like when I was able to, but on this stream, I'm just gonna show you guys. So BQ sent these over and they're freaking awesome. These are 3D printed slippers. Yeah, I don't know what machine or where they're manufacturing them. It doesn't look like FDM to me. I'm assuming this is like a resin thing. But they are incredible. Aaron's tried getting me slippers quite a few times in my life because she loves slippers, and I never really wear them because they make my feet really hot and sweaty. But these things, like, there's so much air that passes through them, and also they're incredibly squishy. Like, when you walk on them, it feels like you're walking on clouds. They also make me really tall. I mean, I'm already kind of tall, I'm basically 6 foot, but they make me like 6'2" or 6'3". These things are so freaking cool, man. I'm not gonna, here, I'm gonna just, hold on, I'm gonna lift my foot up here. Look at these things. They're so cool. I don't know a ton about them. They're really comfy. They're super comfy. Yeah, they mentioned to me a while ago, like, hey, we're gonna be like basically selling these slippers. And I said to them, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be making a full video on them. I thought initially, because they have a filament that's coming out that I thought was what they were printing these out of. And I said, well, that would be cool because I'll show these slippers off in the video and say, look, these are made with them. But they're like, no, that's not, they're separate, 2 separate things. So I said, well, I won't be able to make a video on just these slippers, but I was like, if you want to send them, I'll demo them and like take a photo of them. And when they showed up and I started walking around and I'm like, oh my God, these things are like, these are so freaking cool. Raj, thank you so much for the 4 months, man. Cheers. Yeah, they're really, really cool. Hey, what's up, Koi? How's it going? Would have been great for Murph, the moist wrap fest. I don't have a printer big enough to print size 15s. Yeah, I was concerned because, like, I don't think sizes are standard around the world. Like, I know for a fact that whenever I've gotten a t-shirt, especially from like a company in China, and I say a large, it's like a crock top. So I know that I've had to get like 2XLs before. So I was really concerned when they're like, what size do you need? And I said, well, I usually wear like 10.5s or 11s. I don't know how that translates to the sizes of what you guys have. And so I said, for slippers, probably more on the 11 size. And I do think they probably could be half an inch bigger because they have this, instead of being flat, they have this sort of like lip around them. And so my toes, like, I do feel the lip a little bit, but they're still just, I mean, they're so freaking comfortable. I know that they've like teased them. I don't know if they've publicly said like what cost will be. And like I said, there was no NDA or don't show these things. So I feel fine showing you guys these on stream, but I just don't have a whole lot of information about how they're produced. I just know that they are 3D printed, and my feedback on wearing them the last 5 days is, man, they're freaking comfortable. Do a Chariots of Fire style rice as he they showed it as a resin print. Yeah, that's what I would think as well. I know, what's the company? There's a company that specifically does carbon. Carbon's one, and I doubt that these are made from carbon, but they if you are curious about seeing 3D printed shoes, Carbon, that's their thing. $70 on their website. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, I don't think that that's cheap for a flip-flop. I've gotten like name brand Reef flip-flops for probably 45 or 50 bucks on Amazon, but these are also not mass produced the same way. So I feel like people will still be interested in them. It's pretty niche, but like, if they had not sent me them and I was able to demo these, I could see myself spending $70 to have a pair of slippers like this that I would, as long as they last a long time. I'm very curious to see how this holds up. I would not wear these outside, especially with that mesh. I anticipate like any rock would work its way up into there, but for in the house slippers, if I get some years out of them, which I'm hoping I do, then I think they're pretty freaking cool. Yeah, they're really comfortable. They need to set up, I think that, because I know that BQ and Big Tree Tech do like pretty big booths at a lot of shows. I think that it would be in their best interest to like have a couple of different sizes there where people could actually feel them, because it's one thing to be like, oh, it's just a, 3D printed flip-flop, but when you try it on, you're like, no, this is different feeling than any slipper ever really that I've tried. So I think those are called slides. Got it. That makes sense, because I guess slippers usually like hug your entire foot, while these are just underneath them. Wait, Nappin is here. Nappin, I need a bigger print. There's Nappin. Okay, did you answer me, Swiham, about the banana pizza? I'm curious from another sweets perspective how common it is, or if Nappin's just saying that. Jeans are not standard. I wear 36, 34 here in Europe, and the same size in the US was too big. Had to get 32, 32. Got it. That makes sense. That's weird to me though, because I thought that for jeans 32 is supposed to be inches. So I wonder what that translates to. I wonder what that translates to in other sizes then. It looks like it's doing pretty good so far. It's hard to see it. All of the multicolor is on this side right here so far. But I see some silver for the slug and then black for the belt. I'll definitely post a photo of this once it's done printing later on. Banana pizza is a common thing in Sweden. Every pizza has it. No, okay, now I know you're trolling. Men's use inches, women's don't. Got it, okay. What you guys call flip-flops or slides here are called thongs. Someone's told me that before, that they're called thongs, which is ridiculous. I personally dislike curry chicken and banana. One thing I am really excited for with the Venture XL is actually doing some HueForge printing. I've been wanting, Jackson's room doesn't really have a whole lot up on his walls. He's got a painting of a toucan that my mom made for him. He has this Mickey Mouse frame thing with Mickey Mouse stamps that was my brother's when he was a young kid or baby. And then if you guys have seen the laser review video I did, I laser cut and made a height chart that's a giraffe. So he has that behind his door. But aside from that, like, his room is pretty plain. So I've been wanting to make him some HueForge stuff. And granted, his interests are changing all the time, so who knows what he'll be interested in. But the thing I wanted to do was make like 3 pretty big HueForge prints of different dinosaurs wearing sunglasses. I have no idea where the idea came to me, but Jackson definitely likes dinosaurs. I mean, he likes Mario and Mickey more, and Spider-Man, but he definitely likes dinosaurs. And so for some reason, the idea of dinosaurs wearing sunglasses just sounds rad to me. So I'd like to make 3 HueForge prints for him that I then get framed and put them up on his wall. I think that would look super cool. I personally dislike curry or that. Okay, Pizzeria, not every pizza has it. Are you going to buy? I'm not, man. So I mentioned it a couple times, but I'll just keep saying it because I'm sure as the events come up, people are going to ask. But I don't think I'm doing, as of right now, I'm not doing any traveling this year. The exception to that is the 17th of this month, I'll be in Manhattan, New York, because Lightburn is throwing LBX, the Lightburn experience, which they do every other year. And for anyone that doesn't know, like, I work for Lightburn. That's my full-time job. I do the videos for their YouTube channel as well as their documentation. So I'm going to that because we're going to need all hands on deck. And I'm basically flying in on the Thursday at like midnight, helping set up the event on Friday, working the event Saturday, Sunday, and flying home at like 6 in the morning on Monday. Like, so I'm doing that, but our baby is due September 7th, and the Jackson came a month early, and the doctor said because our first came a month early, we're at a higher risk of the second one coming early. So I definitely don't want to be gone at all. And then once the baby comes, things are going to be just nuts. My family will be in Europe, and then they won't probably be out here until November. Then they'll be here for the whole winter. So from like September, October, November, it's going to be us like trying to figure out how to juggle Jackson and a newborn and still work and do stuff. So yeah, I can't travel, man. I would love to, if I could teleport for like 2 hours, I can probably get Aaron to be like, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, it's just too much. There's just too much. And I want to spend time and be around the baby, but at the same time, like with Aaron, I don't want to leave her like, good luck with a toddler that's rebelling and a new baby. Like, I can't do it. So yeah. Thank you for the 16 months, Andrew. Yeah, I wish. It would be awesome to go, but from a safe source, don't ask Neokoi Prince for Dino Prince. What? I actually just printed a glow-in-the-dark one last night. Did you get your video out that you were doing? You had talked about one. You said you were slicing up a file in Bamboo Studio and you're having issues with how long it was taking. Did you get that video done? Pancake XL with as many IDEX as possible would be good for HueForge. Maybe add a few box turtles for all the filaments. Yeah, I would like, the thing that's going to be interesting is finding a permanent home for the Venture XL. I've had to get rid of a lot of printers. I just don't have space right now. This room is completely full. The garage had stuff everywhere, and because Aaron is going to be parking the car in the garage, I'm losing, like, I'm shifting things around, and I have to have a big CNC and a big laser and a few lasers for light burn stuff. So there's just not a lot of space. So I did end up, I sold a couple printers. I ended up, my switch wire, I gave it away last week. I love my switch wire so much, and it was tough to let it go, but it had been collecting dust, and I'm moving around the racks in the garage so that way the car can get in. And I cleaned it all up and was looking at it, and I'm like, I'm basically just pivoting it to a new spot where it's gonna collect more dust. It's not getting used right now, and I don't know when I'll be using it in the foreseeable future. And the only thing it needed was, I stole the nozzle from it because I had a Basel nozzle and I threw it on a different printer at one point, but I was like, dude, this thing would make someone so stoked. And I didn't want to sell it. Like, even if I sold it for cheap, like, I didn't want to sell it. I was like, no, this one, like, it needs a little bit of love to get back to where I had it. And I would rather just gift it to someone. So I just threw it up on Facebook Marketplace and went out to the garden to tend the garden and forgot I had posted it. And I looked at my phone and was like, oh my God, there's so many people hitting me up. So I was really happy. The guy that ended up getting it off of me has been wanting a 3D printer for a lot of years. And he said it was his first printer, so I had concerns, but he said he has a lot of buddies that 3D print that said that they could, if he ever got a printer, would help him like figure out all the stuff. But he has I think he said a 7 or 8 year old that watches a lot of Mark Rober and is like seen 3D printing and thinks it's super cool. So I told him, I said, my only request is that when you get this thing up and running, that you send me like a photo or two of some cool things you printed out on it. So I'm having to clear out some space. I'm gonna probably sell a couple other printers, and I might end up just giving away another one or something like that. But space is tricky. But on the Venture XL, I would love to have, I think that, I don't know how many tool heads I need, but the idea of having like 4 or 5 of the index tool heads sounds very cool. Yeah, it sounds very cool. I'm a September baby. That's my dad. Oh, cool. That's your dad's birthday. Your workload with 2 is like 5 times just 1. Yeah, it's gonna be a trip. I already don't really sleep between like just the YouTube stuff and day job stuff and family stuff. So it's gonna be if you guys, if I get comments of people saying I look tired, or I've had a few people in chat on not often, but a couple of videos were like, man, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, dude, like I have a 2-year-old and I like life is nuts. Yeah, thank you very much. I know, it's so wild. Yeah, we're in 3rd trimester and hoping we at least have another month and a half before baby comes. But it's gonna be really wild because with Jackson, the hospital was only 8 minutes away, and our doctor couldn't do that hospital. The one we had with Jackson retired. So now the hospital is in Boise. So it's like 4 times, at least 3 to 4 times the distance, which isn't ideal. And we're not gonna have anybody here. So the plan is probably to drop Jackson off at a neighbor's house when it's go time, and then I'll drive Aaron out to Boise, and then I'll have to leave and drive back home 2 or 3 times a day, let the dogs out and check on Jackson. So it's gonna be a very it's gonna be chaos. It's gonna be super chaotic, everybody. In a couple of years, you can bring. I mean, I think Jackson, even at this point, but he's too young. He'd break stuff. But I would love to bring Jackson to like a Murph for 3D Printopia. He loves like pointing at the 3D printers, watching them print, and then obviously he's a kid, so he loves all the little like doodads and trinkets and flexy things and all that. The video is not, oh, the video's not done, but I did upload the stained glass ProForge video today. Nice. I saw the photo of like the teaser photo of you holding it up on Twitter. I haven't played around with that, but I remember when, I always forget the creator of ProForge's name, and I feel bad because I have met him in person twice, but his dad posted a photo maybe a year or year and a half ago of a couple of the stained glass ones he'd made of birds. One was a robin, and I can't remember the other one, but they were gorgeous. I really, really liked them. Selling any Vorons? I the thing with the printers I build, I feel weird selling them because for a lot of them, they require someone with like quite a bit of knowledge, you know, like on how Klipper works, and some of them have like sort of quirks that I'm familiar with that I think you would have to be fairly familiar with Klipper to fully figure out. The only other Voron right now I could see myself letting go would potentially be a V0 because I have 3 V0s and I never use 3 V0s at the same time. Pizza with sour cream, pears, and gorgonzola. That doesn't sound incredible to me, but I won't knock it until I've tried it. I could see that potentially being good. Both my sons, me and my dog, are September. Oh, cool. My grandfather was born on my birthday, so now she. Oh, my granddaughter was born on my birthday, so now she owns it. Yeah, I'm September 30th. It's my birthday, so I told Aaron, I was like, I don't want to share my birthday month. I mean, I was joking, but I was like, I'm the only September baby. Yeah, it's looking okay. It's really not looking bad. It's hard to tell, like some of it's a little bit funky looking, but it's also like Chewbacca is literally made up of fur. So some of this I think is just for the 3D model, giving it a little bit of texture. Also, giveaway one more time. Polymaker giveaway link is open. We'll probably close that in about 6 or 7 minutes here. I'm gonna try to inhale a slice of pizza really quick here. What was the longest print time you did? You mean ever? Probably 3 or 4 days. Yeah, probably 3 or 4 days. I don't really like running big prints. I'm running a Spider-Man bust on the Anycubic S1 that I'm testing out, and that's a 2-day print. It's not even that big of a print. It just has a ridiculous amount of color swaps. I think it's I mean, I've seen more, but like it's like 900 color swaps, I think, and it the color swapping on it's slow. I want to say it's like 2.5 to 3 minutes per color swap, so that is quite slow. But yeah, the 4-day one was probably back when 3D printers were very slow. It was definitely before like Klipper and input shaping, and it was a life-size bust of my head. When I was working at Matter Hackers at the beginning, one of my buddies that was one of our testing engineers had a scanner that he was testing out. And he came up to me one day at lunch and said, "Hey, would you want me to scan your head?" And I said, "Yeah, man." So he scanned my head, and then we chopped off like the bottom of it so that way it was, you know, flat against the build plate, because usually when you scan things, there's sort of imperfect planes. And then I scaled it up as best as I could to life size, printed it out, painted it white. The print took forever as well, and didn't turn out that great because of the fact that we had 2 power outages where I was living during that time. I'm actually going to really quickly see if I have the video. Also, I'm going to try to power through chat here. LTX said, "I just DM'd you my notes from the Venture XL build. It should help you avoid a bunch of headaches." You are a legend. Thank you so much. I will absolutely check it out before we start the build. Digital, I look forward to meeting Jackson in person one day. It looks like he has so much energy and infectious smile, just like mom and dad. He's such a... I would love for you to be able to meet him someday, man. He's just definitely the light of our lives. The kid is such a freaking goofball, and yeah, his smile melts us, man. I'm so hesitant on buying a secondhand Voron because of the quirks that only the builder knows about. Yep. Yep. I agree, and that's why I feel the way I feel. There are tax implications for selling them too as a build, as you build them as part of a business. Yeah. My birthday is the day before you. Oh, whoa! So September 29th? Next V0 build, when 0.3 comes out, I will definitely, if a 0.3 comes out, build it. I would like to upgrade one that I have probably to it, but if a kit comes out and someone wants to provide a kit, I guess I would build that as well. But I'm kind of more inclined at this point to upgrade what I have, if that's possible and feasible, and, you know, just, yeah, makes sense. Is a 3D printer runner ever run a string to use to print in the middle of the printing something? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I used to hate filament runout sensors because of the fact that they never really worked well. Now they're a lot better, but yeah, before a lot of times if I let it run out and then tried to resume it, something would go wrong. Like there'd be an offset, something would bump something, the plate would still cool down. Like they just didn't implement it well. But it's a lot better now, so I feel more confident in the ability to have filament run out and then, you know, resume and it not look off. I ripped all the stock SPI electronics out and switched it to a big shit Kragen 36 Duo. Holy crap. Not so much left in there. Had to learn Calico on the... That's awesome. That sounds like a beast of a printer, though. My daughter's birthday is September 14th, on my birthday... Oh, nice! I teased my wife that she should have held her... That's amazing. Dude, the Anycubic S1 takes... Yeah, it's super slow. It seems to work quite well. Like, the quality I'm getting off of it is not bad at all, but I don't understand why they have it moving as slow as it is. Because it basically has the 4 tubes similar to like the A1 or A1 Mini. Granted, they don't go all the way to the tool head, but like the filament doesn't have to go all the way back to the box. So there's no reason in my mind, unless they just used incredibly underrated electronics or underpowered electronics, that it should need that long to load. I wish they let you adjust the value on loading so that way you can kind of figure out a balance between speed and not running into issues. But yeah, it's brutally slow. There's a lot of things I like about the printer. Hopefully the review will be out. They wanted it out this weekend. That ain't happening. So maybe next weekend, if not then the following, hopefully. But there's a lot of things that I think are solid about it. There's definitely a few things where I'm like, I don't love that. And the filament swapping time is certainly one of those things that we'll get I'll at least comment on. Thank you for the gift of membership. I really wanted a Voron but couldn't afford it. I got the SPO8, looked like cheap and slowly upgraded it for many months. A lot of people do similar things, man. When I got into 3D printing, that was me too. I was buying $200 3D printers, and when I had money, upgrading parts on it as much as I could. Does a 3D printer ever overheat? I wouldn't say that it overheats. The issue you could run into though is if you have, well, this was more of an issue before, but what just happened? Okay, no, it's working fine. It trips me out how it does that stall. Old hot end designs didn't do a good job of removing heat. So there was a lot of hot ends where if you were printing with PLA, which has a lower melting temperature, and you had it in an enclosed printer, the heat from the melted portion or the hot zone of the hot end would get up into what's supposed to be the cold zone. The material would soften up there, and then it would basically, as it's being fed through, kind of smash and then form a blob in the cold zone and clog itself. So that's less of an issue now. The biggest issue I seem to get, which I actually, with the Anycubic S1, saw one sign of it, was a little bit of under extrusion when I had PLA printing in my hot garage with the doors closed. Just a little bit. So you can still get a little bit of funkiness with the extrusion like that, but usually overheating isn't so much of an issue. Really quickly, I just want to see if I have the video. This was back, Aaron and me had been dating for a few years, and I'm pretty sure I had a video of it. This was like, I did a couple of goofy videos back in the day, because like, I'm a pretty big goofball. You guys might see some of that during the streams, but the regular channel with like the edited, it's fairly buttoned up. Let me see. Let me see, we just search. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna really quick. So this was one of my bigger prints. Maybe it wasn't perfectly to scale, and you can see, I think I show a close-up of it. There was like 2 lines where it, do I show close-ups of it? Yeah. Yeah, so this was the first power outage, and this was the second power outage. Yeah, this was 7 years ago. So I mean, I was, sheesh, 24, 25, going on 32, going on 33 now here. So yeah, this is a baby mod bot. I had fun with this one though. Like, I'm just gonna show it. It's only like 60 seconds. This is when I was like, I want to do some skits.
Some of the footage so you guys can kind of see what's been going on. Oh, I'm so glad to finally be home, babe. Hey.
What the hell?
It's not very good acting, but.
Babe?
Yeah, I had fun with it, man.
So, anyways, this guy was printed on the JG.
Anyways, I did that one, and I did the one Untitled Goose Game came out. I made a skit about like the goose that I 3D printed going around killing people. It didn't last, but I had fun. I really had a lot of fun with those, man. It was just fun to be silly and incorporate 3D printing. Okay, 1 minute warning on the giveaway, and then I'm going to remove the link, and then I'll do another 1 minute warning for anyone that's actively filling it out. Considering I've done no tuning on this thing at all, I think it's doing a pretty good job. The one thing I would really like to do soon is probably some pressure advance. I think it's just using the Orca Slicer pressure advance values from Bamboo printers, because that's the PLA profile, the default that I'm using, which I'm sure is not correct for this. That's the content I'm here for. I'm just here to watch them eat pizza. Any opinion on linear rails versus rods? I mean, I like them both, man. I think that my general consensus is that I like rails a bit more. Oh man, I keep missing chat. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, let me really quickly. Hey, hey, 83DP. Let me get through chat. Oh, you're the 28th. Nice. Your birthday is 2 days before mine. I'm scared of just selling my under 5S1. It's not even modded and that hard, but someone else would totally need a crash course on how it. Yeah, I've sold a handful of printers, especially retail ones, just locally, usually for a fraction of the price that they go for. And I always, not always, but anytime someone says like it's my first 3D printer, it's like 45 minutes of me talking like an auctioneer, trying to explain everything about 3D printing to them. And I always end it with like, I'm sorry if I'm overwhelming you. I just want to make sure that you at least grab the basics so that way you can get this up and running. But I talk so fast. I know I can see sometimes where like someone's kind of getting it, and other times where I see like the smile, but like the fear in the eyes, like of what did I just get myself into? Buy and sell, buy a used Delta. Oh God, no. One of the only printer kits I ever got that never completed was the G-Tech Delta. It was like my third printer kit back in probably 2015, maybe 2016, and I couldn't get it ever working. It was acrylic framed. It was so jank. Yeah, it was super jank. Are you referring to the Dragon hot end? I don't know if that question is directed at me, Jix, and if it is, I don't remember what I said that would be referencing. Okay, I'm removing the link, so you got 60 seconds. Unpin, remove, here we go. I just took my Anycubic Cobra S1 down and replaced it with a P1S for my wife. Anycubic just seems to have too many quirks, even with it being batch 3. Interesting. What were some of your quirks, Luke? I'd love to know. Like, I mean, I like to go in blind typically when I'm reviewing things, but I haven't had much issue with mine. The biggest things I'm going to complain about is that I found out it's running Clipper, and they don't say anywhere it's running Clipper, and they don't provide you with any of the things that they need to provide you with for being Clipper. So I feel like a broken record, but I will say that at least in the video to let people know. So for those that care, they can avoid it. And for those that don't care, they can ignore me. And then the slowness is the other thing. I don't love their slicer. I believe you can use it with Orca now, but I don't. Yeah, I've been using it with their slicer for the sake of the video, and I don't love it. It's okay. I did have one issue where the cloud, like, it wasn't sending the file, which has also happened with Bamboo. It only happened once, so I don't know if I'll even mention that. It was sort of a one-off. If it happens again, I'll mention it. Well, yeah, the slowness is the big thing for me, and then there's been a little bit of stringing, but I'll mention it, but I don't know if I can really blame the printer. I'm thinking it might just be because it's been warm in the garage, and so that's kind of part of what's going on with it. Okay, so your opinion on linear rails versus rods. I'm gonna get through this question and then we're gonna do the giveaway. So I like both of them. Clear, like roller wheels was the standard at one point, so I like both a lot better. I think the reason I like linear rails a bit more is that I feel like, generally speaking, once you set them up and they've been greased properly, they just kind of last for almost ever. I have not really had to do much with them. I think I've cleaned up the rails a little bit after a couple of years and re-greased them maybe, but with linear rods, the thing that I've seen happen, which still takes a long time, is that the metal balls that ride back and forth on the linear rail eventually will end up eating small grooves into it, and then you'll have to replace either the rod, I guess. So that, but like as far as like rigidity, I don't know which one's more rigid. I would think it's fairly comparable because you have different diameters and different size rails. So I am pretty okay with both of those things. Yeah, I would say I lean a little bit more towards linear rail for probably the reason mentioned, but I don't mind linear rods. I don't mind linear rods. A lot of machines are running them and they seem to be doing a really good job. I also do think that I think that it's probably easier to get, that might be wrong, but I think it'd probably be a little bit easier to get higher quality linear rods and linear bearings than linear rails. Like some of the cheap linear rails can be quite crap, while as long as your steel rod is not screwed up, and you get like, you know, decent Masumi bearings, that they're fairly consistent. While with rails, there's a lot of other factors. And there's even like, I don't know, do linear rods have things like preload or no? Like linear rails have all different types of preload that you can have on them. I don't know if rods do. So, okay, entering the draw before hitting like is just rude. I haven't told anyone to like today, like the stream. If you have not hit the like button, do so now, please. We got 69 likes. Oh, of course we have 69 likes. Of course we do. All right, let's see. We got 95 entries. That is everybody. If you have not entered in, all right, I'm gonna take 2 bites of pizza. If you've entered in that time, because you're actively filling it out, you're in. Otherwise, we'll wait. I think it depends on the design to support each type. Yeah. Okay, 95 people it is. I think the music stopped as well. Yep. All right, here is everybody's. You also have clamps and slips fit for rods and bearings and screw mounts for the rail carriages. That's also a really good point now that I think about it. Okay, really quick. I'm not gonna, so that's a good point. The thing I didn't think of is that a linear rail, you have mounting points throughout the entire rail. With a linear rod, you can only bolt it at the end. So I would think that for bigger printers, linear rails are going to be the better option, unless you're going to do something like what the, what's the Canadian printer that Panic has? Pantheon has these like monster linear rods. And so I think that for longer printers, you're able to add rigidity to the rail by using something like an aluminum extrusion, while with rods, you don't have that. It's just clamped at the ends. That's how it's supported. So you would need to have a wider diameter rail across longer distances. Rods can be long if they are vertical. Yeah. Yeah, you can go for a larger diameter rod. No, 100%. I'm just saying that like you would have to do that. Like with a linear rail, if you had a skinnier one, but you had it attached to, let's just say a 40-40, it's gonna be way stiffer than a rod that you haven't scaled up to be a wider diameter rod. That's all I'm saying. But no, you're right. You absolutely can scale it up. Okay, let's do this. How many times are we shuffling today? Is there any significant numbers? Let's see. 3 for 3 tool heads, 2 for July 2nd. I don't know. How many times are we shuffling today, everyone? Okay. I'm thinking we go with LTX's 16. For some reason, 16 sounds good to me today. We're gonna do 16. Down under, that is way too many. Man with a croc, that is way too many. Once for every like? Oh my god. Okay, we'll do that next week. Someone remind me next week that we're gonna shuffle it for how many likes there are. We're gonna do 16 this time. I don't know if we've done 16 before. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, good luck to all of you. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. It was so close to you, both Luke and Deanna. The day that Deanna wins one of these giveaways, I am going to do a headstand. I will do a headstand on stream, okay? Congratulations. Congratulations to Sissy Kid. I think you are a first-time winner as well. I only mentioned Deanna because Deanna's been a part of the streams for forever and always says I never win. And every time I'm like, today's gonna be the day. Congratulations to Sissy Kid. I will do my best to email you this evening. Also, I apologize to last week's winner. I was prepping for this stream. It was like 30 minutes prior to the stream, and I'm like getting all of my tabs open, and I'm like, I don't know that I emailed last week's winner. And I checked my email, and was like, oh my God, I didn't email last week's winner. So I did finally email last week's winner. I apologize. That was one of the worst delays I've ever had in reaching out to someone. So yeah, I'm really sorry about that. In my defense, we were fighting a cold in the house last week, so I'm gonna use that as my excuse. But yeah, I apologize. Usually I'm within 24 hours, so that was an anomaly for me. So there's Sissy Kid. Yeah, congratulations. So just be on the lookout for an email from me. It'll come from a email that'll look weird. It's dopes1er930. So the email I created when I was like 12, when I used to say, that's dope all the time. And I just stuck with it. So that is me. It is my email. But yeah, I'll get you the link and the custom code, and then you'll be able to fill that out. My promise still stands. Oh, did you? Sissy Kid killing it with giveaways lately. Where did you win? You went on another channel? Have you ever used an FL Sun printer? I have. I have used an FL Sun printer. I've used a lot of FL Sun printers. I actually just got rid of one last week. It was the original T1. I have the S1 still in my closet. So, all right. We're going to end the stream pretty soon here. We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes. I did say originally like 2 hours was my target, but a little rant session. I'll let the print go. So, I have been a big fan of FL Sun for a really long time. Now, this is mostly because I am a sucker for Delta printers. When I started 3D printing in 2014, there was quite a few Deltas, and then like the dinosaurs, they started to become extinct. And there are still a few of them out there. Most of them are industrial printers or prosumer, maybe even above prosumer, but like very expensive, right? That's what most of them are. And so I've been a big fan of FL Sun with their Delta printers. Like, yes, you guys, everyone's copying everybody, and you guys are just chugging along with your Delta printers. And so I was a big fan of that, and I always felt like they kind of did things differently. The Super Racer was super solid. The V400 I had a pretty good experience with. And then once we went beyond the V400 and towards the tail end of it, things started to get a little bit funky. And the things that they have done that I don't like is, we can have me here so I can be on screen saying this stuff, is they were incredibly misleading with their marketing material on the S1, and I imagine T1 as well. They were claiming somewhere between 70 to 90 cubic millimeters per second extrusion rate, which is bonkers, like absolutely crazy. And we tested that on a stream, and I think it capped at like 32 or 35 cubic millimeters per second, right? Which was still like not bad. It wasn't bad, but like compared to what they were claiming, not even close. And so I reached out to them about that, and they basically said, oh no, it's not like, it's the extrusion rate it can hit in a burst. So like if you were to hit extrude, it can hit 70 or 90 for like a split second or two. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, who cares? What does that mean for anybody in a realistic, like, it doesn't make any sense to me, right? So I was frustrated about that and told them, like, that is ridiculous. Nobody cares about that value. The max flow rate is what people care about, that they can consistently hit. And so I think they ended up adding a comment on their product page, maybe, but like that itself was like, that is super misleading. Come on, guys, like that is really misleading. And then the second big thing for me was that they're running Clipper firmware, which a lot of other companies are running Clipper firmware and not providing the source code. And I don't love that anyone's doing it, but the reality is so many people are doing it that it's like, what do I do? Not test any printer? Like, people still want to see the printers, and there's a lot of people. I don't judge. If you don't care about that kind of stuff, like that's your decision, not mine. I'm just here to present the facts. That's it. So the thing with FL Sun is that they told me early on it's running Clipper, and they're going to be releasing the source code. They said that. They're going to be releasing the firmware, going to be releasing the code. So I had their word that that's what they were doing. And then months passed by, and what's going on, guys? You said it was coming out. What's going on? And then out of nowhere, after finally like delaying, they said, basically like our engineers changed their mind. We're not releasing it. And so that kind of, I don't know if I'd say pissed me off, but like it was really disappointing. It was super disappointing. Yeah, it was super disappointing. So there's been a few things like that, and then a couple other smaller things. They still reach out to me, like they reached out to me recently to send me 1 or 2 of their new printers. I haven't replied to any of their emails because I'm just like, I think because I had such a fond feeling towards FL Sun because of the fact that they were just marching to their own beat and doing deltas, it bummed me out so much more than a lot of other companies where I'm like, that's sort of expected at this point. Like I wanted them to be better and do their own thing, and they really just let me down. So, yeah. Where was the evidence of even that claim? I don't know. About the extrusion? Yeah, I don't know. So, going backwards, I don't think FL Sun printers are bad. The biggest complaint I have about the current ones that I had tested, which was the T1 and the S1, was that they're pulling in air from outside of the machine, which is like their CPAP, right? It's grabbing air from outside and pulling it in. Totally fine for PLA, PTG, TPU. Not fine for just about everything else. ABS ASA, it's gonna work. Polycarbonate, it's gonna work. Nylon, probably gonna work. I don't understand why they decided to pull in air from outside of the printer. It is such an absurd decision on a printer that's fully, especially the S1, like on a printer that's fully enclosed, you're claiming it can do this high temp stuff. Like I tried printing ABS parts on it and just warp. And sure, you can turn off the fan, but ABS needs cooling. ABS doesn't not need cooling. Overhangs are still gonna warp or look really crappy without cooling. It just doesn't need cold air. It needs like chamber air or temperature that's more in line with the temperature that the printer's actually printing at. So, yeah. So, depending on the printer you're looking at, and depending on, you know, whether those things matter to you, that's up to you. I think that out of the S1 and T1, I liked the T1 better because the S1, and I think they were able to correct some of it, although I don't know if, yes, they were able to correct some of it, and there's a community update. There was weird artifacting going on the prints caused by the closed loop steppers that they were using, and it bugged me. Like, I don't mind like layer lines from 3D printers. That's part of the aesthetic of 3D printing, and you can use glittery filaments and all that stuff if it bugs you. But it was a really funky, obvious like pattern on the outside of the print. Well, the T1 didn't have that because the T1 was just using standard stepper motors. So I liked the T1 actually better than the S1 because of that early on. Yeah. Careful what you ask for. I still want the company to do well. I just want them to do better. I want them to not rush things as much. I want them to do what they say. And say what reality is, you know? Yeah. That's my explanation, so. But yeah, I like FL Sun, or have liked FL Sun. I just don't like current direction of FL Sun and what they've been doing. It just bums me out because for the longest time, every time I heard FL Sun was like, yeah, deltas, and I'm so stoked they're doing this new thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened, guys? Like, we've really fallen, haven't we? So, anyways, here's my rant. Let's see how Chewy's doing. I can't even see how Chewy's doing. Ah! He's looking good, man. Chewy's looking good. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit of stringing on the little bullet slug or whatever, but it's at a pretty sharp angle, so I can't say. It's not even stringing, it's actually a tiny little droop, but it's at such a intense angle that I'm not surprised, and it looks like I can clean that up with just a tweezer later. Maybe I should build a door on Velta. If you build a door on Velta, I I like Doran Velta a lot. I just wish I knew what the heck was going on with mine and why mine was having some weird printing stuff still. I still want to convert it to direct drive. Honestly, if you decide to do a Doran, I would plan from the beginning to probably do a direct drive and just figure out a lightweight extruder setup. I'm pretty sure someone's modified the Doran toolhead publicly where you can just grab it and throw like an orbiter on it now. That's what I wish I had done from the beginning. Granted, I went based off of a 5-set kit, so I like to stick with the kits when I'm building a kit to show, you know, what you can expect from it, but that would be really my only change. I yanked apart an Eiffel Sun I got for $50 and used the motors and power supply for my Voron. Wait, were they the closed loop ones or no? And dive into the Doom. Yeah, Doomcube Discord has a lot of awesome stuff, knowledgeable people and crazy cool projects. All right, y'all, I think we're gonna call it. It ended up only being about 30 minutes quicker than normal. Like I said, next week, I'm hoping that next week I see you guys from the garage. That's the game plan right now. I would like to start the 5-sec build, even if that means just taking the stuff out of the box and looking at it. I have some serious concerns. The first concern is getting the stream set up working in the garage. I'm hoping, I think I have a tiny monitor in my closet that I can use, and I'm gonna use my old Mac Mini M1 that's been sitting in the closet and try to just put a new image on it between now and then. And I'm hoping I can use, I know that with like my MacBook, I can use my iPad as a secondary monitor. I'm hoping I can do that, so that way I can have the main monitor for like all the like manual stuff, and then the iPad for basically just chat and OBS. So that's the first concern. And the second concern is getting a workbench situation where I can actually build on. I have 2 workbench carts I built that are 2 feet by 4 feet, and if I put them together, I'll have 4 feet by 4 feet, which should be enough, I think. But I don't think they're very straight or flat, so I'm probably gonna bring this slab down to the garage as well and try to like, those extrusions will be way too long, but maybe if I like place them on there on the corners I'm actually working on, I can try to get it square. It's gonna be a trip, so we'll see. I'm wondering if maybe if I get the garage stuff set up, that we'll start by doing just one stream that's not that to test out the setup, and then the following week start building that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You can use Sidecar. Okay, sick. Awesome. I've hardly ever played around with it. The iPad literally just, I got it originally to 3D model on the go, but I'm like, I live at home. I don't need a 3D model on the go because I don't go anywhere. So that's good to know. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think it was like, okay, yeah, a Q5 is fine. The Q5 was back when they were using normal stepper motors. I just gave away my Q5, yeah. Hey-oh. Okay, everyone, we're gonna end it. I'm gonna finish up this slice of pizza, probably sit on my butt for 30 minutes, then try to do some editing before I got swim class, and then I will pretty much edit all night long. That's the game plan. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out today. Thank you for new members. We had a ton of gifted memberships. Thank you for our donations, everyone hanging out in chat. Thank you to everyone that hit the like button. And also thank you to Polymaker for allowing us to do the Polymaker giveaway. Congratulations to our winner, which one more time was Sissy Kid. And if anyone does want to support the channel and needs to pick up Filament, there is a link in the description over to Polymaker's website where it doesn't increase the cost of the filament, but it does support a percentage of the purchase goes to the channel. So it's always super appreciated. But thank you all. I'm sure I'll have lots of updates and rants and exciting things to talk about next week. I hope everyone that's in the US has a wonderful 4th of July and a safe 4th of July. And wish me luck with trying to entertain 30 people and 14 kids, because I'm social, but I've mentioned this before, like I consider myself an introverted extrovert. I'm social, but unlike some people that are extroverted where like the socializing really like refills them, I have a tank, right? And the socializing drains me. And then after it's all gone, I just need to recover and not see anybody for a couple of days. So I'm sure it'll be fine, but I'm like, all right, people, lots of people, let's do this thing. So, all right, everyone, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out. Cheers.